Hello everyone. All right, I am going to do Soggy, Expat, Book Nerds, and Shawn, the Book Maniacs tag. I don't remember what it's called. Basically, I have to go for a longer hike today, 4 miles, and I just want to hike and do this tag at the exact same time. So I'm starting now before I get to my hike, and the first question was something about, would you eat cold soggy fries? My answer to that is no. However, once I heard the question discussed by Shawn and Heather, basically I decided my answer would be yes. Cold, put in the refrigerator soggy fries are disgusting, but room temperature soggy fries I definitely would eat. So yeah, that's my answer. If they're room temperature, of course. Fridge, no. The next question is, have I ever lived abroad? No, I have not. I would say the closest to that experience, which is not close at all, was basically that I went on a mission trip to Poland for 2 weeks. And that was just, I guess, more similar because we stayed in a hostel sort of situation. But we got to know local people, and so that was different than just going on vacation somewhere. Would I? Yes, but I think that I would probably wait until after my parents aren't around anymore. However, then maybe I would be too stuck here, and I would only do it temporarily, for summer, for a year, something like that. I wouldn't want to stay in a different country forever, just because I feel like I would be so far away from family, and I've already been there, done that, living in Illinois, which is nothing compared to living in a different country. Okay. The next question is about a trip that you took because an author made you want to see it. And I think for me, that was definitely going to Petoskey, which Ann Patchett is obsessed with. And so I've been to a lot of the same places that she has, and have experienced Petoskey in a similar way, I feel like. I also love sour cherry preserves from American Spoon. So yeah, that's one that's pretty close to me. It only takes about 3.5 hours, I think, to get up there. But I definitely visited it because she loved it so much. And that's actually the first time that I met her as well, was in Petoskey. I met her dog in Nashville, but I met Ann Patchett in Petoskey. So the next question is a book or an author, from Canada or Wales that you'd like to read. So from Wales, I'm really interested in reading more Richard Gwyn. I'm sure that's not how you say his last name in Welsh, but he actually only has 2 other novels and only one other that I can find, but he's the author who wrote The Blue Tent, and I would really like to read his first novel, which is The Color of a Dog Running Away or something like that. I just love The Blue Tent so much, and I'm just curious how much I would like his other stuff. And as far as Canadian, I'm just pulling this from the top of my head and from what's fresh in my mind from the video, but definitely more Margaret Atwood, because I loved oh gosh, what is it called? Well, first of all, The Handmaid's Tale, but the other one that I'm thinking of is The Heart Goes Last, and that one's not super popular, but I love that one, and I love The Handmaid's Tale. I did not like The Testaments, but I'm curious, would I enjoy all of her other stuff, and how would I know if I haven't read it? And yeah, I also have a book of essays by her, the one that just came out, which is signed, and also The Heart Goes Last is signed. So I'd also like to read her essays. The book that she just published, it said that was her 3rd book of essays. So I'd love to get my hands on the first 2, because it was kind of take you through her life in her 20s all the way up until now. You can read them all. So yeah, that's definitely what I would like to read. Maybe more so than her fiction are her essays. Okay, I can't honestly think of an embarrassing story involving my parent. So I think I'll just say one of how I probably embarrassed my parent, which was basically this. Our house, we were just very open about things in our home. And so when my mom needed to have a hysterectomy for some reasons I will not share on the internet, it was, not a big deal. Our whole family talked about it. It's all good. Okay, sorry, I got a phone call. I'm hoping there's no one else around me. Okay, so my mom needed a hysterectomy. So she was just way excited because the woman did not like having periods, and now of course she would not have periods. So it's like sharing time at after school care, which I had to go to because my mom was a teacher and had to work slightly longer than I had to be at school. So I only went for a short time. There's basically time for snack sharing, and then basically it's time for me to go home. Anyway, I think you know where this is going and what I shared, which was that my mom was gonna have surgery and she was so excited because she wouldn't have periods anymore. Yep, everyone just stared at me. Nobody knew what the heck I was talking about except for the teachers, who laughed hysterically at me, and one girl who was younger than me but ended up calling me period girl for like years after that. Sorry, Mom. It's Karen from the future, and apparently my phone did not record the next question, which is basically, what else are you a maniac about? I talked about how I'm a huge fan of meeting authors, collecting signed books, visiting bookstores. Okay, other things. I really love board games. Sadly, I have not played them a lot recently because I don't have loads of friends here. Like, I have acquaintances for sure. But when I moved here, basically, it wasn't too long until the pandemic happened, and it's just been hard to meet people. In addition, my family's here, so I think sometimes I like hang out with them when if I wasn't by them, I would be forced to make friends. So yeah, I still love board games though. And what else? Oh, traveling. I love to travel. I'm hoping to do a lot more this year just because I feel like things are more free and my finances are a bit better than the hot mess that they were before. And I'm really, really, really good at like planning traveling for people. Like they will want to visit a place and I will either legit do an entire itinerary for them, or I'll just tell them the places that they need to visit. And loads of people have taken my advice so far and traveled places and loved it. And then also when my mom and I traveled together, I always plan the entire thing, and I think that will be the same when my friend and I traveled together in October, just because her husband usually does the planning and she just lets him do it because that's his thing, and I am so much like him, so I think she might just have me do all the planning. I don't know, we'll see. Next question, have I ever been lost? Yes. So I went to Boston one time. I was basically a delegate for the teachers union, and we had like a big like assembly, representative assembly sort of thing there, which is where we vote on stuff for the next year for the union. And I am like, listen, you are paying for me to go to Boston. I am taking full advantage of this situation. And I decided to go on a bunch of tours during my downtime, even though all my friends basically just drank or sat around in the hotel room or No, I'm not about that life. So I did a whole bunch of stuff on my own, and one of the things I did was a literary tour of Boston. Now, I was the only person on the tour, which was awkward but also fine because I was eating it up and loving it. But the tour did not end where it started. I had no idea where I was. I don't know why. I didn't find a map on my phone. Like, I don't know the situation. I think I didn't have internet on my phone at the time because I was trying to save money to get out of debt, all this stuff. Anyway, so I had to find my own way back, and she told me directions, but basically I realized that I didn't really understand her directions, and what she said did not make sense to me. And so I ended up finding a T station finally, which was the wrong one. It was not the one she told me to, but I was able to use that to figure out my way back. And luckily I did make it back to my hotel. I walked so much when I was in Boston. I would say I easily walked between like 9 and 11 miles a day. The next question is any memorable encounters with a stranger? And I would have to say no, at least that I can think of right now. But I have had people that I've been briefly acquainted with that I'm super curious about, like, what are they up to now? What became of them? And all this sort of stuff, you know, kind of like the stuff you would wonder about before you just instantly friend someone on Facebook. So yeah, like I remember going on a bus trip once when I was in high school, I think, and there was this one guy, and he was just so profound with everything he was saying. This was like a church bus trip, and I just was like mesmerized by him and pulled into all of his wisdom. Like, I just wanted to stay with him and learn from him forever. And I'm just curious what became of him. Like, I don't even remember his name, so I can't even stalk him. Plus I wouldn't, that's creepy. But yeah, I think more people like that you just know for a brief time, like a weekend or a day or something like that. Those are the people I wonder about. The next question was something about what did you want to be when you grew up? And if you are that, how does it feel? And I have pretty much always wanted to be a teacher. I know that my mom has this book and it has like what I wanted to be at each age. And I think when I was in preschool, I said I wanted to be a shoes salesperson. But besides that, it's pretty much been teacher every year. And I obviously have become that. It was my senior year in high school that I switched to being interested in special education, which was because of this amazing special education teacher consultant named Carol Gray, who is the creator of Social Stories, which is kind of a vintage way of like teaching kids with autism how to follow social norms and stuff like that. So now you might do like video modeling or stuff like that, but back in the day you basically did a story and you would read it to them like about a situation and how they need to act. So it feels great being able to do what I knew I wanted to do forever, and that I feel I just have a natural ability to do. It just comes naturally. I'm easy to think of learning games on the spot that are real weird, real creative, and basically make my class look like PE class. When I decide to do them, I can integrate learning into pretty much everything and really love tricking kids into learning, which is what I used to do when I would nanny small children. Now I actually tell the kids that we're learning while we're doing it, and this is why we're doing it, and to empower them in that way. But yeah, it feels really good. I would say the only thing is that because I feel like teaching is something that is kind of innate to me, it's something that's really easy for me to do and that comes naturally. I want to know, like, okay, what's the next step? Like, can I teach people how to do some of the things that I just do without thinking about them? Or like, what's a way that I can broaden my circle of influence? And I have thought about becoming a special ed administrator, but recently I've decided, one, I can't be slippery. I'm not a slippery person. I'm genuine. I'm who I am. I'm who I am on the internet and in real life. Like, I can't be fake. I don't want to be fake, and I can't manipulate people or lie to them or anything like that. So special ed admin might be out of the question. The other thing that I could do, the other thing that I would love is to get my doctorate and be a professor or something like that, but I just don't really feel like I have enough like role models to take that path, and I don't really understand that path. Like teaching, I'm surrounded by so many teachers. The majority of my family are teachers, and so I lived that life. As a kid, I would help my mom in her classroom and all that stuff, which is, I think, why some of this might come so innately to me, because I've actually been doing it since I was like 4 or 5 years old and would help my mom in her classroom, which did become helping, I would say, when I was in junior high or so. I would actually teach lessons in her classroom when I had days off school and she didn't. So I guess that's the only thing about doing something that you've always wanted to do and now you're there. It's like, what's next? Like, your whole childhood is set up in all these milestones that you meet and all these academic awards and placing into classes that are for like more advanced kids or whatever. And then you're an adult and you're like, well, okay, just go to work, come home. So I would say that's the only drawback. The other thing I've always wanted to do, which could be something I'm interested in, but just kind of a tweak to teaching, which is a child life specialist in a hospital, and their job is essentially to really care for the children in the hospital, their emotional health, and also the families, and just really make them comfortable about like what's going on, what's going to happen to them, making their stay decent by including play therapy and stuff like that. So that is something I'm interested in. I think it's a pay decrease by a lot. I'm not quite sure. And I also don't know how much of a need there is for that. But definitely something I've always been interested in that's similar to teaching, but I haven't done yet. And I guess the other thing too, that would be kind of a tweak on teaching, is teaching in an outdoor program or something where you can teach in a non-traditional way, and school doesn't look the way school looks, and school can look the way you want to look. Honestly, I would love for a family to hire me to be like a private teacher for their children, where I had autonomy to do what I wanted, when I wanted, which would mainly, honestly, be based on the kids' interests and what direction they want to go, and how I can take what they are interested in and make it into an amazing learning experience for them. So the final question is, am I a people watcher? And I would definitely say yes, which is part of the reason why I love BookTube so much, particularly vlogs, because you kind of get like an inside glimpse into someone's life, and their lives are always so different from yours. Some of the stuff is so similar too, even though they live in a different country. And that is one of the main things that I love about BookTube, I would say. All right, and now for who I would tag. So definitely Brian from Bookish. I don't know if he's tagged yet, but I love his tags so much. So I'd definitely be curious about him, learning more about mainly the teacher question too, like did he always want to be a teacher and stuff like that. Olivia Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, because she has had such an interesting life as far as like living abroad and stuff like that. So I think her answers would be really interesting too. And then I will say Lauren from Lauren Marquette or something like that. I don't know what her channel name is. She is so lovely. She's French, but she's living in the Netherlands, I think. I don't remember. She lives somewhere else. So she would have interesting answers as well to the expat sort of questions. And also, I tag Lindsay from Lindsay's Book Life because I am traveling with her this summer, and I think she also lives a very unique life and would have loads of interesting answers. So I tag her as well. Wait, I thought of more. So because I'm such like a people watcher, this also makes me very curious for other people's answers to these questions. So I also want to tag your true self. That is Sarah. She is like one of my faves. And so I definitely need her to do this. I hope she does. I would be super interested in her answers. Also, Celia, her videos are just so cozy and warm and comforting, and I'm interested in what she has to say. Stay-at-home reader, because people need to find her channel. She's lovely. She sent me a birthday gift, which I think I will include in my birthday haul soonish. But anyway, I love her as well. Did I mention her name is Alex? I feel like I just said her channel name. Anyway, Remembered reads. Jen reads loads of nonfiction, which I really like, and I would be interested in her answers as well. And then Gina from, I forgot what her last name is, Gina Stanier Books. She is just like the loveliest human, and I want to hear her answers as well.